I am about to start what I would like to call the auntie sagas. I have the mother sagas, which is something that I started with, and now I have what I like to call the auntie sagas. It's like two stories, not so many, but two of the probably the wildest stories that could happen in our family. I mean, the the foundation of the story comes from the idea that I didn't have a father, or actually that my biological father denied. So it's in a sense an absent father type of foundation. Because my aunt, the one I'll be talking about, and my grandma would bother me constantly, all the time. Reminding me that my father didn't pay the traditional fees that he was supposed to pay the family for impregnating my mom. And in my head, I would go, but I wasn't even there. So why are you telling me this? But they will constantly badger me about it. So this is where this story happens. Now the story involves quite a lot of interesting people. Technically two people, but they got such big roles in the story that they just like huge characters. So they have a lot of impact. One of them is my cousin. Uh, my cousin. Let's call him Buddha. I mean, hell, that was what we called him, Buddha. Not as in necessarily meaning Buddha as in the guy who prays, but Buddha as in like older or uncle. So we call him Buddha for that. Now, that guy was a wild person. I mean, he was a wild person. Some of the stories that he used to share with me, I can't even share. That's how wild he was. I remember a story where I accidentally like stabbed him. I stabbed him in the foot, right here somewhere in the foot. I don't even know how I got to the foot, but I had stabbed him in the foot, and he was pissed. He was pissed, and the one thing he asked me is like he wants his flesh back to where it was. He doesn't want it looking like this stab. He wants me to get it back to where it was. I was like, what the fuck? How can I do that? And I mean, to make it worse, he says, if I don't get his flesh back to where it was, he's going to stab me as well, and he can choose where he wants to stab me. Now, this nigga was wild. I knew he was wild, and I knew he meant that shit. So I decided, because I don't want to get stabbed, to try and fix his wound, which is caused by me. So I was getting a bunch of used tea bags, and he was sitting on the chair, just sitting. And I got a bunch of used tea bags. I put it on the wound. I got some oil to just splash it on the wound. And I was doing a great surgeon's work. There was some good healing technique. After after I was done, he looked at me and he looked at the wound and he just did this. And then the wound was back to where it was. I was like, fuck. This guy is going to stab me. But then I think my aunt came back, and then he sort of just like forgot the whole thing. So that's one of the guys that gets involved, because me and him were busy working on aunt's yard. We were busy like getting rid of the wild weeds around the house so it can look pretty. We were using a hoe, which is igecha. Busy. He had his gecha there, I had my gecha, and we were busy working. While we're doing this, my aunt comes. The young aunt. Let's call her Auntie Mnu. I mean, hell, that technically was her name. Now my aunt, giving you a background, she was a very pretty lady. I mean, she was a pretty lady in her prime. I mean, she did a lot of drinking that it kind of ruined her. It kind of ruined her face. She was like the youngest but oldest because she was the youngest amongst the 7 aunts that I had. But my gosh, she looked like she was the oldest one amongst them. Because in Kau, traditional beer, she drank a lot, and then it just like ruined her face. But she was an entertainer. My gosh, she was the one who would start songs when it was traditional meetings. She was the one who knew how to dance. Her leg would just go up and come down, and people would be like, clapping hands, and the jokes she would make. She was funny. But when she was drunk, she got pretty mean. She got pretty mean, especially towards me and my cousin. Because when she got drunk, just like her mom, she would bring up this thing of us not having a dad. When I say she was wild, I meant she was nuts in that sense. I remember, this is a story that I'm sharing on the side because I don't have a platform to share it on in terms of where it would fit in my stories. But because she was so wild that at one point she started like a gang fight back home. But the story that I want to tell involves her and her boyfriend fighting. She was drunk. I said, her boyfriend was drunk. They were having a fight, which often it often happened a lot. But this day, this day, when the fight was getting at its peak, the guy grabs her lower lip, biting it with his own mouth. And then she's screaming, we hear her screaming, and this guy just pulls her lip and he bites it off. Oh, and then she's screaming, blood dripping over her face, screaming. Okay, we come to help, they try to help, and then of course the ambulance needs to be called. So, because I think there's still hope, so that the lip can be sewed back together, and everybody's there asking, okay, where's the lip? So we are all looking. And while we're looking, everybody looks at the boyfriend like, dude, okay, where is the lip? The guy looks at us. He's like, he swallowed it. This man bit the lip off and actually swallowed it. So there was no lip. So now, she went to the hospital and she had a very messed up lip. It looked very weird. But anyway, reversing back to the past, our aunt comes and she starts doing her thing to me, start instigating this thing, bringing it up. It's like, your father didn't even pay us the money that he was supposed to pay. I'm there working, and because she has said it so much, it frustrates me. I hate that thing. And she keeps constantly just badgering me about it. And I stop what I'm doing and I was like, so what do you want me to do? What do you want me to do? Because clearly I can't do anything. I wasn't there when this was happening. So what do you want me to do? And she's like, who are you talking to like that? Aunt, who are you talking to like that? And I was trying to keep quiet, looking down, and she comes to me, just pushing me on the head, just tapping me, like, who are you talking to? Because she's an adult, of course I can't do anything. I start crying, and I keep working. And then she walks away. But while she's walking away, she sees my cousin at the back of the house. And then she goes to him and tells him the same thing. She goes on him. Now, even you, your dad didn't pay any of this money. You guys are just, terrible words she was saying. My cousin was wild. He gets angry. And he comes to me, walks to me, and he's like whispering, like, let's fuck her up. We were kids. Quite young. She's an adult. But in that moment, because I was so frustrated and so angry, I agreed. I was like, yeah, let's do it. And then she keeps saying the same thing again. And then my cousin is like, so shy. She's like, we'll fuck you up. And she's like, fuck who up? Me. And then she's just coming towards us. So we spread like this. We are standing here, and she's in the middle. When she tries to go for me, I don't know why she was going for me first, maybe because I was the youngest. She goes for me. My cousin comes with the fist. Wah! When she tries to turn to go to the cousin, I go with the kick. Wah! But giving her credit, she was a strong lady. God damn, she was a strong lady. So she was there. She grabs me, she pushes me against the wall. I'm there, down, My cousin is trying to hold her and she just pushes him away. And then out of nowhere, I see the hole coming, over. I'm watching. I'm watching Igeja coming towards us as it comes to aim towards my aunt. I had to react. I react, flipping over to the side, and the Geja goes to the ground, It hits on the ground. I'm like, Jesus, this guy is going to kill us. And then my aunt, as she tries to look at what just happened, what just almost killed her, my cousin comes back with the wooden part of the hole. Boom! Slaps her with the hole. She goes there. I get up and we go and we kick the shit out of her. We whoop her ass. And then because we were whooping her ass so much, she starts crying. Oh, they're killing me. And then, of course, the fight had to be stopped. The fight was stopped, and and then, we continue what we were doing while she was busy crying, going, and of course, telling us to fuck off. All these things starting to yell at us, and then of course she goes away. But we knew we were in trouble. We knew we were in trouble because we just split up in adults, and then our parents will come back and later on, and this problem will be dealt with. So we were there. Everybody's there. She's there, giving an Oscar performance, telling everybody what had happened. She's saying things and it's all backwards. Basically, now we were the troublemakers. We're like, what the fuck? And because we're kids, we can't say anything. You have to keep quiet until you are given the opportunity to speak. And she's there telling everything, and then the tears. Oh, like I'm saying, Oscar performance. She's there crying. Telling the whole family how she feels abused, like everybody treats her this way, people don't care about her. And we were there shocked. But when we were given the opportunity to speak, we spoke the truth. And then when the truth came out, our parents understood, because this is not the first time we were complaining about such a thing, about the family always telling us these things that we were not there when they were happening. So there was kind of like a neutral stalemate type of thing, but we were told, we can't do that again. We can't hit adults, rather we must run away. And then she was mad and she got angry and she walked out. From that day on, me and my cousin were always working together, because we knew our aunt probably was plotting revenge, so she could just fuck us up one by one. So yeah, but from that day, in a sense, there was kind of some respect earned that we were grown-ups. There are things that you can't be saying to us, as kids, because it's not good. So yeah, I mean, that's that's the moral of the story. That's the whole story. The moral, of course, from it is, past can't dictate who people are. I think that's just mainly it. Here we were being dictated, of course, being judged by what happened in the past, and we were not even responsible. But the past can't predict what is going to happen to you. It's a whole lot of things that can change. Thank you for listening. thank you, I appreciate you, and I shall see you next time for another story. Namaste.